I am here with Jackie Morganfield, who has generously agreed to share her time as a member of our community here in the North State and also a leader. She's a leader in many different segments of our society up here, her church. She's an activist in the community and a servant leader, which Jackie, to me, describes mostly how I have seen you in our community. So thank you so much for what you do and for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
These are hard conversations to have about identity and culture. And I kind of just would love to start where you're comfortable starting with, maybe with your experience up here, how long you've lived in the North State.
That sounds good. I think that's a good place to start. I moved here from the Bay Area in July of 2015, my
Okay.
daughter and and I moved here because my youngest daughter is married here and she has my only granddaughter. So I was excited about becoming a grandmother, and I think I saw her maybe twice, maybe three times. I packed up everything I owned, gave all the keys back to the church. And so I moved to this place that I had no knowledge of. It didn't matter because I'm going to work wherever I am. But I wanted to be a part of my granddaughter's life. She happens to be biracial, and I wanted to make sure that she's real familiar with this side of her culture. So it was important that I got here as soon as possible. So yeah, I came up in 2015. I became a member of the beloved community, as they're everywhere. So that way I became more familiar with more people who were like-minded, Christian and non, but was mainly concerned about what was going on in our community and how we could be a part of making it better.
Sure.
I moved to Shasta Lake City.
Okay.
And I had some incidences there that were kind of unusual, but I think it's par for the course for this area. Racial incidents, I had my SUV egged. I had no idea who did what, when, but my car was egged. I was called out of my name, racial slurs, by some of the people in the water department.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, and then I even had a bout with extortion from one of my landlords. At that time, I was a Section 8 recipient.
Okay.
And so I knew what was going on couldn't last long, but I didn't know who I could trust to talk to about it.
Sure.
Anyway, I got my paperwork together and all, and I showed these people, yeah, this is happening, and I'm not going to stand for it, and you all need to know. And I knew I was taking a risk because I could have been evicted or whatever, but that was the risk that I was willing to take. And so it just was so ironic. Once I put all this stuff on the line and showed the housing department, how this had been happening and it had been going on for a while, they did absolutely nothing.
Oh, how disappointing when you put yourself and your experience in your life on the line to,
Yeah.
oh.
Their response was basically, oh, I can't believe he did that. I'm like, yeah, well, you see, he's been doing that, but what are you going to do about it? So it gave me a good reason to get out of my lease. I no longer wanted to stay in that area. And with the exposure, I didn't think it was safe.
Yeah, it sounds like
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I came to Anderson, where I have found home. Yeah, because this is where I want to work. This is where I want to invest my time. This is the part that I want to build up. This is where I want to make the difference, and just do what I do. I find the police department here to be very friendly, very open. I do invocations for the city council meetings here. So I just find that the work that I like best, I can do here in Anderson, and I don't feel threatened.
Absolutely. So it sounds like you've had some disappointing experiences with jurisdictions not sticking up for their residents.
Right,
It,
right. When you have these people with money in the communities and they're doing what they're used to doing, you can't expect them to be singled out, even though I did. I expected him not to only be singled out, but I expected him to pay the price for what he had done, but that didn't happen.
yeah.
So yeah, I moved on, but it was quite the experience and it was a learning experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, I do some of the planning for the MLK activities in the area, which is, I've never seen such support from the surrounding communities. I mean, I'm delighted to be able to serve in that capacity and get to know some of the different people that run the city of Reading, Anderson, and, mix and mingle.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think, Jackie, having the experience that you had in Shasta Lake City, which of course isn't representative of everyone, but it is a local government, and then having the experience that you have with the MLK event planning, how
Mhm.
do you resolve that difference in jurisdictional attitude, help for people? I don't know if you felt as though that was a racially biased action that they took, but it
Oh, it
sounds
certainly
like
was
it
a
to
racially
me.
biased. Yeah, I definitely believe it was racially biased, and that's just one of a few of the incidents that I've had,
Mhm.
since I've been here. But you're gonna have a few people in every group in any jurisdiction you're in that you don't necessarily coincide with. But the majority of the people are not like that. And
Mhm.
that's why I'm still here, because there is hope. And then when they get to see different people coming in and that we all can work together,
Yeah.
it makes a difference. It has a bearing on the attitudes that what used to be is no longer accepted,
Mhm.
and when you find out that we have more in common than we have differences, I
Mhm.
think that makes a tremendous difference in planning and doing things in the area for your community. We are like-minded in that regard.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm. We have the community in common and all want the best for our community.
exactly. That's why, and I don't know if I should say this, you cut it out if I can't, but that's why I was so attracted to you when I first learned what you stood for, um, and some of the things that you hold dear to your heart. I was like, that's my kind of person. I had a couple of incidents, even with the election. What is it, like the voters election? I was a supervisor for 2 or 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And that was interesting, very interesting. And I was told, oh, well, if you want this same post, or if there's a post that you want in particular for the next election, you just let us know now and you can get that. Well, I found out that that wasn't so either. I was placed here and there. I was put in very precarious situations, but I bored until I had had enough. And
Yeah.
when I had enough, I said, this has been nice, but I'm out.
Mhm.
I'm not coming back.
Mhm.
And I didn't go into why, but it was experience that I was seeking,
Mhm.
and it was the experience that I had. It was long days. It was not a pay, just a stipend.
Yeah.
But because it was my community,
Mhm.
I was willing to see just how the votes went, what was the attitude, what was the atmosphere surrounding voting in this area, and so I
Mhm.
found out, and I'm good,
Yeah.
and I'm good, so yeah, that was a very interesting time for me. And so now, since I've been here, I decided to further my education. So I just finished my master's degree, but the concentration is in peace and social justice.
Wow, that's right up your alley.
Yes, perfect. And
Perfect.
so at this point, I'm working on my capstone. That's how the 12-step program came into play.
Mhm.
I've never seen so many women that were homeless. I've never seen so many families that were homeless as to when I got in this area. But what about that person? That's a human being. That person was made in God's image, and they need to be recognized as such, not just walk by like they don't matter.
Yeah.
And so, being a servant leader, my heart went out to that population. And so, with my degree, I've chosen to do something about that. And so, mid-August, depending on just how COVID goes, I'll be looking to open the 12-step program, Christian 12-step program in Anderson.
Wow. That's
Yeah. So
Jackie.
that should be really rewarding.
Absolutely. It sounds
Mhm.
like you're taking concrete actions that you see as necessary to make our community better and more inclusive,
Abs-
whether people are brown or black or white or from local tribes or Asian. It sounds like um, you're seeing it as all of us needing a place to feel at home, as it sounds like you
Exactly.
here. Yeah.
You know, because it could be me. You
Yeah.
don't know what precipitated that person being where they are now. And to step over them or to ignore them is just not okay.
Yeah.
You know, we have to show love to people who are different than us. We have to reach out to those who need our help, and we all can use a little bit of help from each of, you know, from everyone. So yeah, so that's really been on my heart.
How do you feel like you're bringing that specifically yourself to that service?
Well, first of all, you're meeting people where they are,
Mm,
not where you would desire for them to be. Right where they are is just fine,
mm,
you know. And I'm in recovery myself, and there was a program that was waiting, just waiting for somebody like me to come through um, and find out just what were the root causes of my addictions. And that's what 12-step programs do. They uncover the root cause. Your problem isn't any worse than mine, or I'm no better than you because I'm here.
mm.
We are people and we're struggling to do better. So it's my choice to minister to the physical, mental, and spiritual person, and then see them become a whole person and not have to revisit
Mm.
that same part of their life, instead of just, oh, you're still in the pit count this year, so you're still homeless. You know, you want to see a change, a transformation happen in their lives.
Yeah. Well, that kind of feeds into how I know you, Jackie, which is through the SEIU 2015 and your leadership there. That's a lot of similar work as serving others, right?
Absolutely, because in SEIU, we're over 400,000 strong. Let me state the total name. SEIU Local 2015, and this is our Region 6. We have a justice agenda that includes racial justice, financial justice, environmental justice, retirement security,
Mm,
affordable housing,
mm,
all social justice, you know. So
mm,
it ministers to the whole person. We speak for those people who are marginalized, those people who wouldn't have a voice otherwise, you know. And
yeah.
so that fits who I am, you know. And one day I could be in that position. You never know what could befall you.
Mm,
We never saw COVID coming, and look at how it has transformed our entire environment, you know,
mm,
not only our world, but all the worlds that surround us.
mhm.
So you do while you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and in the way that the SEIU serves the community, I think the SEIU membership as well can be part of that group that that does not experience economic justice, right? That does not experience
Exactly.
retirement security, that has majority women membership, right? Of
It's
SEIU
correct.
15.
We have some excellent women leaders. We have men in the union as well,
Sure.
but because the women have taken this leadership position, they give you a place where you can feel at home. You know, there's no longer that hierarchy where all of your bosses are old white men.
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
or people who need to go and sit down and give somebody else a chance. But these are women who are fighting the same kinds of injustices that I am.
Mm-hmm.
They just happen to be in a leadership position, and I love being here because we are one huge family, you know, and we learn all kinds of things like injustices in the convalescent homes. You
Mm.
know, those are our people as well, and we have to make sure that they have good working conditions, that they're getting the pay that they deserve, and have the equipment that they need to do the job because they love what they do.
Yeah.
And we, as in-home support workers, make sure that those people who are in their homes who want to stay there are being treated like they should be treated. I'm an in-home support service person to my daughter who's a stage 5 kidney failure patient.
Oh my God.
And
I didn't
because
know that, Jackie.
yeah,
Wow.
and because what I saw going on in the dialysis clinics,
Mm.
I was like, oh no, there's no getting better here. The
Mm.
environment was that of just death and dying people. So in order to save her life, I became her in-home support worker. And we do dialysis 9 hours every night.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but she's doing so much better. It feels good when you can look back and say, I made a difference
Yeah.
in that person's life,
Yeah.
and you can speak for others, and you know that they can't do it for themselves, and you're there. You're saying, hey, I'm going to give you a hand up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels good.
Oh, that's great. Well, and that's the work, just to give SEIU 2015 a little plug, that's the work that all your members do in serving
All of us,
those
all of
who
us.
are forgotten by society or left out, whether it be
Mm-hmm,
our elderly or young people who don't have the capabilities to go to conventional, traditional school.
mm-hmm.
It's really important work. So.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, Jackie, despite some what sound like really terrible experiences, you have some really uplifting ones in your life also.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have a tremendous support circle, but people are human
Yeah,
and they deserve to be treated as such. It doesn't matter what the capacity might be.
absolutely, absolutely, and at the expense of the economy. Sometimes that's kind of what we've experienced with the pandemic, is people
Mm-hmm,
come first. Well,
mm-hmm.
Well, Miss Jackie, I so appreciate your time. I know you're a busy woman, but if there's anything else you would like to add to this conversation, or that you feel like people in our region just need to know about your experience or about the communities you serve, please feel free to add whatever else you'd like
Well,
here.
you know, I'm just here to say that I'm not here to compromise.
Mm,
I'm not here to turn my head when I see injustices happening.
mm.
If I had to upset the status quo, then you can look for me to do so,
Great.
and in a way that everybody will benefit from. You
Mm,
know, I'm glad to be in this area where the community is so involved in the changes that are going on around us.
mm,
This is an excellent place to be right now.
yeah.
And if I can make a difference in some of the things that have happened in the past and making sure that they don't happen again, then that's what I'll do.
Hmm. That's love in action right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well,
Well, I can't think of anything else, but I really looked forward to this interview, and I'm glad that you're taking the time to do this because some people had some things that need to be said.
absolutely. And we need to hear them. It's a time for listening for those of us who are white and grew up in a very different world
Mm-hmm.
than our neighbors. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing your experience and your life and your passions. That's good news,
Yes.
Jackie.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Wow.